The real estate market has been like a roller coaster for the past several years, and people are wondering if now is the time to keep riding the roller coaster, or it's the time to get off the roller coaster and jump back into purchasing a property, or if it's still a good time to list a property. So I've got the expert here with me today. This is Joanne with Coldwell Banker Realty, and she's going to answer all those questions for you, so stay tuned. So excited today to have Joanne Revell with Coldwell Banker Realty. She is my broker in Panama City Beach, Florida. When I looked to transition into general real estate a couple years ago from being in the builder side of the business for 15 years, then I was really attracted to Coldwell Banker and the name recognition, the brand it had to offer. And I met Joanne, and that just sealed the deal for me. So it's been a pleasure working with her, and I love the way that she manages her office and the realtors, and really provides that exceptional service to everybody that works with her. So I wanted to have her come in today because she has way more experience than I do, and I've got 17 years in the business, and talk to us a little bit from her high level perspective as to what she sees going on in the market today. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be able to do this. And Sharon does an amazing job with all of the information that she has for the public, which is ultimately our goal as a realtor, to try to educate and inspire people to want to own a home or a condo.
So tell us a little bit about you, your background, and then give folks an idea from your perspective what we're seeing in the market today. This is now November 2022, obviously a very different market than 5 months ago. So give us your take on that.
Right. I've actually been in real estate full-time for 38 years.
How's that possible?
Which that's, I know, right? I actually did start when I was 20, so I was very lucky to find this as my first career. But just because I've been doing this for 38 years does not mean that I have all of the answers. However, and that crystal ball that we always wish that we would have to forecast the market, that would come in so handy. But I don't have that either. However, what I do have is 4 decades, almost 4 full decades of seeing the cycles of real estate. And we all know that real estate is very cyclical, and it has its ups and downs, and just every decade has been one that where people still find ways to buy homes. So our challenge now is to help buyers and sellers.
Right. And then people are trying to get, like you're talking about, this is more of a balanced market what we're moving into. Now, it is still technically a seller's market, because what I talked about in a lot of my other videos is gave you the stats for inventory that we have on the market and how in our area, because everyone wants to be in Florida
right.
and everyone wants to come to the beach. So we still don't have a lot of inventory to actually turn this into a buyer's market, but there's a lot more opportunities out there now because the sellers who are actually wanting to sell their properties are negotiating, allowing contingencies, or we're talking about price, we're doing some help with closing costs, things like that. And one of the things you and I were talking about is like the dream of home ownership. And I started thinking about that because really in the past few years, that dream and that excitement of owning your own home has almost been put to the side because it's been such a frenzied market that
Absolutely.
It led more to disappointment for people who were, putting in offers on a property and then get, boxed out by someone else, and multiple offers and price escalations, and that joy, that feeling of excitement and joy was just kind of not really there.
It was diminished a lot.
It was really diminished a lot.
Yeah.
So how do you think that's going to maybe hopefully change going into this type of market?
Well, with going into this balanced market that we're seeing stabilize, it can be unsettling at times when you listen to the news and you hear everything about the market. But really, it is an exciting time because, as Sharon said, buyers were boxed out of the market, especially first-time home buyers. We had very little inventory. Interest rates were historically low. in my career, I've never even come close to seeing that. At one point, we thought if it got into single digits that we were going to be really happy, and it hit 9% and we thought we were in heaven.
Right.
But now there's more inventory to choose from. The prices will stabilize, which will compensate for some of that interest increase. The lenders are coming up with great loan programs for buyers, and sellers are keeping their pulse on the market with the help of their realtor to know how the market's doing, are price adjustments needed, what kind of special concessions can they do to help buyers. So it's actually an exciting time.
Yeah, and I said in another video, I had a conversation with one of my sellers a couple of days back, and he has a wonderful property. It's priced well. In the times that we had before, it would have been already snatched up off the market, but with the interest rates what they are, I said, I think it's really important that we address that. And one way we can do that, instead of just taking more money off the house, is give some money to the buyer for closing costs and for points. And so he agreed to that. We put in a large sum of money, enough to actually cover a buyer's pretty much all of their closing costs, or if they want to use that to buy the rate down. And since we made that adjustment, now there's been 4 showings on that property in the last 24 hours. And the comments when I'm hearing from the other realtors is that still in effect, because that's really interesting to my buyers. So those are the things that we have to shift in our mind. And a lot of sellers aren't used to having to do that because they've been in the driver's seat the last few years, but now understand that things are different. But if you're still wanting to sell your property, you're still going to make a nice sum on it, and you're still going to do well. It's just that you have to maybe do more to get it, more eyeballs on it, and understand it may stay on the market a little bit longer.
Yeah, and I think one thing we have to remember, and over that 4 decades that I've been watching real estate and selling, it has been a constant that the dream of home ownership is still in the forefront. And over time, we have to remember that real estate is really meant to be a long-term investment in most cases. Obviously, we have job transfers and things, but overall, real estate was never meant to be, a quick sale, in and out deal. You just buy because you need a home, and it's the dream.
Yeah, and it has been it's like a roller coaster. Like she talked about all the cycles. It's like real estate's like a roller coaster. If we think about when rates were super low, then the frenzy to buy was there, and with that frenzy came all the acceleration of prices. And so you saw prices rise 20-30% property over property, which was insane. And then rates changed, and all of a sudden people put the brakes on. They're like, oh no, I'm not going to buy now. Pricing started to come back down a little bit to adjust for that. But what do you think is going to happen if rates do go back down? We don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but if they do, all that pent-up demand of the people that just been stuck at the top of the roller coaster, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I need to buy now. And then it's going to be the repeat frenzy that we had for the last 2 years.
Low inventory.
And the prices going back up the roof. And if you think about it, let's say you had a property that was $500,000 in May, okay? Then the interest rates changed around the 1st of June. Had they not, that same property for $500,000 would have been today $550,000, $575,000, because that's the pace at which this acceleration was happening. So keep that in mind to some degree. That acceleration has stopped, and things are being priced more in line with what the comps were for then, not so much as now when new things are coming on the market. Sellers are having to look at that more. So talk to people, because Coldwell Banker to me is such a well-known brand. Been around for how many decades?
116 years.
116
we are the
years.
Oldest real estate company.
And when I get phone calls from buyers, one of the conversations when I ask them, how did you find me? And they're like, well, I watched your YouTube videos, or I saw your Facebook, or I came across your website, and you're with Coldwell Banker, and I recognize them. I've done business with them before, and it really does have a big impact on people. So explain to people, talk to them why using a realtor that's with Coldwell Banker would really maybe benefit them, and why it's really important now versus, maybe even in the past.
Now more than ever, having a realtor work for you, whether you're a buyer or a seller, is so important. If you think about the global marketing that you need. If you're a seller, for instance, you think about how are you going to find that right buyer, especially in a market where things are stabilizing and we need to have the marketing out there to find the right buyers. You really need to be with a company that can showcase your home not only locally, nationally, but also globally. You never really know where the buyer is coming from, especially nowadays. People are transferring and they're able to work wherever they want to, so why not be in Florida working? So having a company like that that can do your marketing is really important. And for a buyer, you know, the agent, the realtor, is the one thing that's the center of the transaction. It is not just about having a fantastic realtor like Sharon to find you the property, whether it's your home or an investment property. That's the first step in a long process from contract to closing.
Right.
So the agent is really the only one that has contact with every single person in the transaction, starting with negotiating with the buyer and the seller and possibly another agent, the title company, the lender, the appraiser, the home inspector, you know, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
So having a knowledgeable realtor that does this full time and has a good support staff is super important right now.
I think so too, and I think, you know, there's about 2,000 realtors in Bay County. It's a lot.
A little more than.
And so when you're, you know, coming from out of state and you just want to find a realtor in the area and you just Google, you know, Panama City Beach realtors, you're going to get a plethora of names. But I think it's equally important for a buyer to ask the realtor about their experience level, their history, their negotiation skills, their support staff, all that, because again, just going out and opening up a door and showing you pretty homes is the easy part of our job. Okay, it's all the preparation work to get to that point of showing you the properties. Especially for me, I do a lot of investment sales, and so before I even get out there and physically show properties, I've done all the homework in advance to let us know what the expenses are going to be on the property, what that property is going to potentially make for gross revenue, and then I can give them a pretty good idea if this property is going to cash flow or not. And if it's not, then there's probably no point for us to go look at it, because at the end of the day, I want everybody to be successful. And even though this market has been moving and transitioning, I've put 10 properties under contract in the past 90 days in this market with higher interest rate, 9 of those people financing. So that's by working with buyers for, you know, some upwards of a year and a half, watching the market and sending them information and keeping them informed. And then now the time is right, because they can have more options in the properties to choose from, because things are staying on the market longer. We've been able to negotiate some better pricing, some contingencies in. So I think for buyers, it's really important that you partner with the right realtor that has the background, the knowledge, and the experience to get you where you need to be. Because a lot of deals fall apart when the realtors behind the scene don't know what they're doing and they make critical mistakes. And that's everything from even explaining to you the offer that you're presenting to the seller, because there are a tremendous amount of detail that goes into that and understanding what you're getting yourself into.
And I would just add to that, it should be a joyful experience for the buyer and the seller. And that's something that Sharon alluded to earlier, that in the past market that we were in, it was very stressful. Are you going to get the property or are you not? But now it should balance out and be joyful, and you know, hopefully end with a closing for the perfect property.
I mean, I've been stressed out.
Yeah.
Everyone's been stressed out. I didn't like that market.
Let the agents take the stress off the buyers and sellers.
These last 2 years, I mean, I gotta get my hair done more often to cover these grays, because so these last couple of years have been stressful, because I want all my buyers and sellers to be happy and enjoy the process. And man,
it's been hard.
It's been hard. So I mean, I've managed to get in there and kick and scrap it up with the best of them and get my deals under contract for people and stuff. But I'll tell you what, I had the most fun in the past 30 days, because I had several buyers actually come into town, investment buyers, and where I would have been able to show them like two things or one maybe. And by the time I got to the second one, it was under contract usually, you know?
Yep.
I was like, I've got 15 properties I can show them.
Right.
Holy
They have
moly.
choices. They have options.
They have choices
Yeah.
and options. And I was like, you know, here are the ones I've narrowed down to. Let me see what's available to show you. And they're all available. And I was like, put your running shoes on, people. Grab your snacks. We're getting out there. And it was really cool because they were able to see. Didn't say we saw 15, because at some point they got to the point where they're like, oh, this is really where we want to be and stuff. But they were able to narrow that down and understand more about our market and the buildings and things like that. And it was a much more pleasurable experience. And then by the time I got back home to put in an offer, you know, there wasn't already 10 offers in,
Right.
which is the norm. Like I'm literally leaving and running home to put in an offer, and there's already 10 offers, or they'll say, oh, we just accepted one.
Yeah. And Sharon mentioned we're filming in November 2022 right now.
Yeah.
And this is a prime time to be looking, if you're looking for investment especially, because you can actually get into the properties, you can take your time and not have to rush like we do when we're in top of the season.
Yeah.
Although our shoulder seasons are super busy,
Yeah,
we have
we're busy
Ironman
too.
coming in this weekend. They're already setting up, so we have it's a good investment.
Yeah, it's been busy. This condo actually is one of my owner's condos. This is in Grand Panama Beach Resort, which is one of my favorite resorts on the beach. I've
beautiful.
done over $7 million worth of business in this building in the past 16, 18 months. And these folks have a beautiful 3-bedroom. I sold them a 2-bedroom as well. And all of my owners are doing really well with their investments. I love to hear that. They come in town, use them themselves a lot of time. And their calendars stay full, so even in the winter months. And a lot of them already have snowbirds coming in, so that's a pretty cool thing too.
Right.
So, well, we thank you guys for taking the time and listening to us today, and hopefully you got some information out of this. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I put out educational videos every single week. Please feel free. I'd love you to like, comment, share. If you have any more ideas of other types of videos you'd like me to make for you, please leave a comment or contact me directly. And if you're ready to start your property search, check out my website. You're going to get those properties delivered to your inbox every day. You're going to know what's on the market, what's pending, what's sold, price changes, so you can have a good overview. And when you're ready to start the conversation to either buy or sell, just give me a call. Let's chat. I'm not going anywhere. I've been in business for 17 years. I'm a full-time realtor in Panama City Beach. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day from
Yeah.
Panama City Beach.
Bye.